Welcome. Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying our NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of the Nipahwa Banner and Press is dated Friday, May 28, 2021. There's lots happening on the front page. Food drives finds a way to continue, by Kira Patterson. The community of Nipahwa really came through to help support a good cause that was in danger of being cancelled. The annual spring food drive organized by Nipahwa Area Collegiate's NACI social justice group, known as HOPE, managed to go ahead despite new restrictions put on school activities. On May 9th, when it was announced that Winnipeg and Brandon schools were moving to remote learning, they also announced that extracurricular activities had to be put on hold in all schools. This applied to NACI's HOPE group, who had been planning to do their food drive from May 13th to the 18th for the Nipahwa Community Ministries Center Food Bank. Instead of canceling the drive, members of the community stepped up to take on the task. The Nipahwa Rotary Club and Touchwood Park got on board to help distribute bags to fill with food donations on May 13th, while 18 NACI staff members and the Rotary Club went around to pick up the full bags on May the 18th. And it goes on to say, we were very happy that we did not have to cancel the spring food drive after the latest health restrictions did not permit HOPE students to participate in the food drive, stated Michelle Young, NACI teacher and HOPE group teacher liaison. It was really nice to see the NACI staff and the Nipahwa Rotarians step in and work with Amanda Nightingale at Nipahwa Community Ministries to come up with a plan B to ensure the food drive could happen. The Rotary Club has a history of helping out the HOPE group with their food drives, so Club President Wayne Jacobsen said they were eager to be able to assist with this year's effort. We're happy to work with the school in any capacity, Jacobsen stated. It was a great combined effort for a great cause, and we're happy that we could help with it. NCMC Community Ministries Director Amanda Nightingale stated that the food drive was a great success. The total amount of food collected this year was 3,173 pounds, plus about $280 in donations. That's huge for us, she expressed. In terms of weight, the collection this year ended up being about 100 pounds less than last year, but with the extra money donated this year, Nightingale said that brings the total value of donations up to much higher than last year. She expressed thanks to all the groups involved, including the NCMC Board of Directors, who came in after the drive to sort through all the food over 2 days. She also wanted to thank the community for their continued support of this annual effort. She noted that the drive helped put the food bank in a very good place, but they are always happy to accept more donations to continue filling the shelves. We're well stocked for the summer months, but the need is always there as this pandemic drags on. And there's a picture here of some of the bags full of food collected for the bank. Over 3,000 pounds of food was donated. And on back to the front page, it shows in this picture NACI staff and a couple of family members who helped complete the Hope Food Drive. And below are members of the Rotary Club of Nipahwa who helped collect donations from the food drive on May the 18th. New Nipahwa Market to feature Manitoba makers by Casper Waran. A new event is coming to the town of Nipahwa, organized by Nipahwa Tourism. A makers market, formerly known as the Riverbend Market, will be making its debut in July. The outdoor market will be set up at Riverbend Park on July 23rd from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and on July 24th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The market will showcase the work of a variety of Manitoba makers and artists and allow consumers to connect with them and their products. We wanted to showcase artisans that create anything homegrown or homemade to promote those artists and small businesses, said Kelsey Wilson, board member for Nipahwa Tourism, who is coordinating the event. For example, we have Grey Ridge Coffee coming, and we have someone who has bison meat. Some of the other vendors people can anticipate at the market include Steph Boyko, who makes polymer clay and resin accessories, Olive and Company, who make scrunchies, Maddie's Mum's Cookies, Gaia Claywork and Crafted Bath, which makes bath and body products and more. Details and vendor information are being posted on the Riverbend Market's social media as the days leading up to the event go by, so people can be acquainted with the vendors and their products early. A total of 30 vendors are being accepted this year, with Nipahwa Tourism hoping to expand further in the future, making the Riverbend Market an annual occasion. Already, those 30 spots are full. However, vendors can still apply. We're still accepting applications for a waiting list in the case of there being cancellations, Wilson explained. Anyone wishing to apply can contact us on Facebook or through email at merch@nipawatourism.ca. Those wishing to attend the market will be able to purchase a ticket at the entrance, with kids 12 and under able to enter for free. The funds raised from these entry fees will be donated to the town of Nipahwa for swimming pool upgrades. Vendors will also pay a vendor fee, which will help cover the costs of the event and contribute to future Nipahwa tourism projects. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, any public health guidelines applicable at the time of the event will be enforced. As well, the market has prepared the following operation guidelines and for vendor setup and consumer conduct. And they are as follows. All vendors will be placed 6 feet apart through the grounds. Exit and entry points will be monitored. Traffic flow signs will be implemented to ensure single direction flow. Product handling and touching should be minimized. Vendors should set up their booths with this in mind. Ensure there is room to walk and browse and a separate area to pay if possible. Each vendor is responsible for having hand sanitizer at their station. Sanitization stations will also be provided upon entry and exit and throughout the market. Vendors and consumers are asked to not attend if sick. Signage will be posted reminding customers to wash their hands, social distance, etc. Vendor areas must be kept clean and disinfected frequently. It is recommended that areas such as debit machines be cleaned and disinfected after 2 or 4 hours after each use. Masks must be worn at all times. Vendors will also be responsible for bringing their own table and chairs. However, 10 Nipahwa Tourism tents will also be available on a first request basis. In her final thoughts, Wilson expressed her hopes for the event, stating, "I really hope that it will be well attended and that the community enjoys it, that it's something different we can bring to the town." And there's a few pictures here. This is, a couple of examples are right here of what will be found when it kicks off on July the 23rd. It looks delicious, however, you would not want to take a bite of these delectable looking items. They are not a tasty snack, but a creatively crafted bath bomb made by Crafted Bath. And over here we have Robert Duterre Garcia, who is slated to be a vendor at the Riverbend Market, and he has some of his paintings here with him. This is a close-up of one of his paintings, and one can see even by the photo that he has captured even the shiny ripple of the water's surface with his paints. It's very good. Travel and entertainment section. Brookdale students end school year with a bang. The Canada-wide Science Fair has concluded. With results finalized, Team Westman's Emily Robb of Vincent Massey High School has been confirmed as a recipient of a silver medal in the senior category and scholarships. Two local contenders participating in the science fair were Haley Dennis and Emily May, both of Brookdale. These two are the first students since 2012 from that area to participate, and though they did not get a medal placement, they found the event valuable and exciting. It was a very interesting experience for us. It was probably the biggest thing that's ever happened to us, and we learned how far we could take our project, said Dennis. And May added, we both agreed that this is the best week we've had in a long time. There were a lot of very neat presentations, and we both got to go on a tour of Ottawa virtually. So we saw lots of places like the Bunker just outside of Ottawa. The Brookdale students also got information on universities located at Ottawa, what goes on inside them, and met plenty of kids, ambassadors, and judges from all over the nation. The pair agreed that the event being virtual this year was potentially a boon. We could meet people that might not have necessarily been able to attend if it had been a normal year, Dennis explained. Sharing some behind-the-scenes details, Dennis and May told the Banner and Press just how they came to decide on pursuing the project that brought them to the Nationals. As it turns out, instead of testing the BRICS levels in BRIX levels in produce with a refractometer and comparing them, the pair were originally going to test the benefits and disadvantages to caffeine. We decided that that was something we'd be interested in, but not something we could do a project on and maybe have as much fun with, said May. Dennis added, we both grow gardens in the summer, so we were interested to see what kinds of produce is around us and to see if there is any difference between it. If we continue this experiment, we would like to try testing our produce grown in our gardens versus store-bought produce. And it goes on to say, one of May's family members had the testing tool they needed, so with resources readily available, the two had gotten to work. We didn't actually know at the time what BRICS levels or refractometers were, so it was a huge learning experience for us, May expressed. When the Banner and Press asked the pair what advice they had for other students who may want to pursue the science fair, they emphasized that it may take a lot of work, but to never give up. The work pays off, said May. Expanding on this, Dennis stated, even if you don't win, don't be afraid to look into the projects that other kids did. Get inspiration and know what they did and learn and make conversation, because that's what science is really about. It's not about winning or the awards for me. It's the experience and a path of life. It gets you out there, and you're putting yourself into these experiences that might not happen otherwise if you didn't. This was Dennis and May's first year being eligible for the science fair, the pair considering it a prep year. Both have a strong desire to go back and do it again. We know that if we did it once, we can do it again. I think with the virtual science fair, it was kind of a bang to end the year off for us, and now we kind of know what to expect in the future for a live person one. The pair extended their thanks to their families, friends, and school for playing a big part in encouraging them and giving them the feedback they needed to take their project to the next level. And there's a picture of the two girls here. Haley Dennis and Emily May, Brookdale students. They were part of a team representing Western Manitoba. All right. Now I think I'll come back to this page later. All right, Helen Drysdale, out of Helen's Kitchen. This week her title is On to the Bay. There was much political wrangling and lack of funds when the railway to the north began. Construction on the rail line went in stages and under various names of several railway companies. Under the name of Great Northern Railway Company, the line reached Dauphin in 1896 and Winnipegosis in 1897. Due to the many lakes preventing a straight railway north to the Pas, the line went across the border at Saskatchewan, then headed northeast and reached the Pas in 1908. By then, both Liberals and Conservatives in Ottawa decided to make a firm commitment on building the rail line. In 1910, the Hudson Bay Rail Line began in earnest. By the beginning of World War I in 1914, 537 kilometers or 334 miles to Kettle Rapids, which is located at present-day Gillam, were laid. Work was halted for the war and several years after. In 1926, pressure from the West urged the government to resume building, and the push was on to complete the rail line. As the railway made its way to Hudson Bay, it entailed conquering many physical obstacles. Many miles of muskeg and shifting permafrost had to be crossed. Then there were the outcrops of Canadian Shield that needed to be blasted away, as well as streams and rivers to cross. In the swampland, numerous large ditches were dug to carry off excess water. In building up the embankments across swampy ground, special ditchers were used. These machines sucked up the earth through pipes on either side of the track, depositing it in front of the machine where it was tamped down. In 1927, the track laying crew consisted of 3,000 men. The complete absence of any gravel, ballast, on the route of the railway made building difficult, as all gravel had to be brought in on rail cars. Men filled their wheelbarrows with gravel from the box cars at the end of the rails to dump gravel along the newly forming rail bed. The bed was then tamped down. Then came the track layer, a rail car equipped with hoists and cranes. On one side, a belt carries ties from the weight cars, and on the other side, a belt carried the steel rails. The engineers soon learned to lay the rail line over the muskeg in the winter when the ground was frozen. When the ground thawed, the gravel was laid bit by bit under the rail line. In winter, when the lakes and ground were frozen, material for building was brought in for the following summer's work. The line crossed several rivers and streams. On the smaller water flows, wood trestles were built. The river's bridges were built of steel with cement foundations. The bridge over Nelson River at Kettle Rapids is 3,000 feet long, or 914 meters. This work was completed in the days of no safety or labor laws for the working men. In the early 1900s, the population of Manitoba had grown quickly, with many new immigrants looking for work. The companies did not have to go far for workers. They held all the power, and how they abused it. The men were promised 20 to 30 cents an hour and all the meat, bread, and vegetables they could eat. The company failed to tell them that room and board was $1 a day, and that transportation cost to get you up north was yours to pay as well. All the meat you could eat turned out to be salt pork, beans, and biscuits 3 times a day. The men lived in crowded camps, working in the extreme cold in winter and heat and insects in the summer. Many men were sent home with severe infections of their eyes from from all the vicious black flies, bulldog flies, and mosquito bites. Many encountered bears as they worked, including polar bears. As safety for the men was not important, many were killed or maimed as they worked. In one place of track, there are 50 men buried in a 1-mile stretch. When many of the men left to go home, they found out that they owed the company money for their keep. No pay for return home with after toiling in the roughest of terrain. This is going to be continued in next week's edition. But Helen said, I am sure the men would have enjoyed a salad on occasions. This recipe is a great one for fresh spring asparagus. It's called lemony asparagus salad. Now for the Spruce Plains RCMP report by Corporal Jacob Stanton of the Spruce Plains RCMP. During the week of May 7th to May 23rd, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 57 police activities. On May 17th, RCMP conducted a COVID compliance check at a residence in Minnedosa. All persons were found complying with quarantine regulations. Police received several calls about a suspicious person and vehicle in the RM of Rosedale and Nipahwa area. Police located the subject of complaint and discovered they had an outstanding warrant. The person was arrested and released with a future court date. On May 18th, RCMP responded to a report of an assault in Minnedosa. The matter is still under investigation. Police received a report of stolen farm equipment in the RM of North Cypress Langford. After investigation, it was determined that the equipment was not stolen, but rather a misunderstanding of ownership. Police received a report of an erratic driver in the RM of Rosedale. Police located and stopped the suspect vehicle and arrested the driver for operating a vehicle while impaired. The vehicle was towed and the driver was released to a sober friend with a future court date. May 19th, RCMP were dispatched to a commercial alarm in Nipawin. Police cleared the building and found no signs of disturbance. Police received a report of a suspicious person in the RM of Minto O'Donnell. A member patrolled the area but did not locate any vehicles or persons. May the 20th, RCMP received a report of an impaired driver in the municipality of Westlake Gladstone. The complainant stated he took the keys away from the driver, was driving the impaired person home, and did not want police involvement. Police responded to a residential alarm in the RM of Rosedale that was determined to have been set off accidentally by a member of the household. May 21st, RCMP conducted a COVID compliance check at a residence in Kellwood. All persons were found complying with regulations. Police conducted various traffic enforcement, engaging with several motorists. May 22nd, RCMP received a report of license plate theft off a vehicle in Nipawin. There was insufficient evidence to proceed further. Police responded to a report of an abandoned vehicle in the RM of North Cypress Langford. Attempts were made to contact the owner but were unsuccessful. Arrangements were made to tow the vehicle in the morning. On May 23rd, RCMP responded to a complaint in Rapid City, where a person was reported to be disobeying current public health orders. Police attended the residence and gave the homeowner a warning for breaching the order. Police were dispatched to a cabin fire in Minnedosa. There were no injuries, however, the cabin was a total loss. The cause of the fire was not considered suspicious. RCMP conducted 22 traffic enforcement actions during this reporting period. The new rink in Kellwood showing progress by Kira Patterson. The construction of the new Kellwood rink is coming along. Getting this new facility in the community has been a work in progress for almost 4 years, after the roof collapsed on the former rink in 2017. Rural Municipality of Rosedale Reeve, Michael Porrick, and Councillor Earl Burton gave the Banner and Press and NACTV a tour of the building on Monday, May 17th, providing an update on where things are at. The structure itself is all up now, including the interior walls dividing the space into rooms. The facility will have 4 dressing rooms, 2 of which will also have showers. There is also a canteen/kitchen. The space will all be heated by in-floor heating. The contractor for the build is J.C. Lavich and based out of Nipahwa. Porrick stated that all the work so far has been funded by a combination of insurance payout from the former Rink, grants from the government, and grants from organizations including Farm Credit Canada, Richardson Pioneer, Nipahwa Gladstone Co-op, and the Beautiful Plains Community Foundation. Porrick and Burton said that they're hoping to have part of the building ready to use for the upcoming season. Because of the building is located next to Kellwood's campground, they are focusing on getting the shower rooms done as soon as possible so that campers can use the facility. Showers will service not only the Rink, the campground as well will have an entrance in and out, Porrick said, explaining that there is access directly to the shower rooms from the outside. As for when the Rink itself will be complete and ready to use, Burton and Porrick estimate that it will be a couple of years. We likely won't see any ice surface for a bit of time because of funding. In the meantime, however, they are glad that there is the possibility of the building being used for other purposes. We'll be able to use it 12 months of the year because of the campground access and the ice surface, of course. And other functions could happen here because there is a cooking area and a waiting area for bad weather or whatever. We have a local fair. The Ag Society puts on a fair here, so we could probably use it for that and for auction sales. Porrick added, definitely more activities in the summertime. We're hoping it will draw. And there's a picture here of a little boy using a brand new zip line that Minnedosa has provided at their campground. It's at the Minnedosa Beach Campground, and this is Caleb Moore of Brandon trying it out. I tried it out with my granddaughter a couple of weeks ago, and it's great fun. Now, street/sidewalk upgrades moving forward in Nipahwa by Owen Devereaux. A pair of significant street-related renewal projects will soon be moving forward in Nipahwa. Town Council recently approved the hiring of West Can Seal Coating Inc. to microsurface 20,000 square meters of road. The areas of road they will be working on will be Brown Avenue between Hospital Street and Adelaide Crescent, and Hamilton Street from Walker Avenue to the bridge near Broadway Avenue. Microsurfacing is a surface treatment for roads. It is laid over the top of the existing surface to seal and protect it. It consists of a water-based mix of stones and bitumen, which is spread over the existing surface by a special machine. The cost of the road upgrades will be $209,200 plus applicable taxes. A timeline for that work to start has not yet been announced. Along with the planned microsurfacing, the renewal of 243 meters of sidewalk pavement has also been announced. This has been an ongoing upgrade effort from the town over the past few years. For this year's work, J.C. Lavich Construction has received approval on its tender of $29,055 plus applicable taxes. The improvements will be made throughout the community. A timeline for that work to start has not yet been announced either. And news from Plumas. Their fire chief has stepped down from the top post after 20 years. By Owen Devereaux. Gordon Coates, fire chief of the Plumas Fire Department for the last 20 years, has officially stepped down from the position. Coates, who has a combined 27 years of total service on the job, will remain with the fire department in an advisory/supervisor role. Matt Deholis has been announced the new chief. Coates decided now was the time for someone new to step into the role because of the future purchasing of new and advanced firefighting technology. He said it's best for the person who will be using that equipment for the next 20 years to be the lead for the department moving forward. In a phone interview with the Banner and Press, Coates noted that his predecessor, Lloyd Hall, served as a mentor for him when he first took on the role. He added that Hall taught him a very valuable lesson early on in his tenure on not taking any guff from anyone on the job. As a thank you for his 2 decades of work in the fire department's top job, Coates was presented with a certificate of appreciation on Wednesday, May 19th at a ceremony at Stride Hall in Gladstone. And here is a picture of Mayor Scott Kinley presenting the certificate of appreciation to Gordon Coates for his 20 years of service as Plumas Fire Chief. Next is a 4-H report by Sviana Bjornsson of the Nipahwa 4-H Beef Club. The Nipahwa and Area 4-H Beef Club held their last virtual business meeting May the 17th. We had Megan Barron from Carberry join us on our screen for a judging workshop. Megan is a past 4-H member that has been on judging teams for Agribition and large shows in Quebec, Ontario, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and of course in Manitoba. Megan really simplified it down for us. Pick the animal or item and decide which one you like the best, and then tell us why, but make sure you have the right terminology. We started off with a class of 2 Charolais steers, then 4 bred Hereford heifers, then we had 4 hogs to judge. Not only did we have to type in the chat screen for our placings, but we all had to give oral reasons during the workshop. We even had to judge 4 ice cream dishes. How could anyone go wrong with that? We cannot wait to have Megan join us in person for another judging workshop. Our club is getting ready to do another virtual achievement and sale this year. Our members will be doing the videography this year at their yards due to the code red restrictions. Keep your eye out on our website, www.nipawaaarea4h.com, and check us out on Facebook, Nipahwa and Area 4-H Beef Club. Our videos and photos will be up around June the 20th, and placings will be announced around July the 5th. Our sale will be held July 7th, starting at 6:30. The website for the sale is www.gladstoneauctionmart.com. If you are needing more information about the virtual show and sale, reach out to one of the 4-H families. Now on to the sports section. Just gonna have a drink. Miles Brister, submitted by ACC Media Release. Miles Brister has become the first player from Nipahwa to commit to the 2021 Assiniboine Community College ACC Cougar men's soccer roster. Brister is a 5'9" fullback that played every minute of every game for the Nipahwa Area Collegiate Institute Tigers before soccer was canceled due to COVID restrictions. Miles was an asset to the Tigers squad throughout his high school career, said former coach Chase Critchlow. His competitive drive, pace, and tackling ensured that the opposition would have a difficult time breaking through on goal. He will be a difficult player to replace and will be an excellent addition to the ACC squad. Brister noted that he is eager to have an impact when the ACC Cougars are able to take to the field once again. I bring competitiveness, aggressiveness, and a willingness to do anything to win games, said Brister. I like soccer because it can be a fast-paced, complex game, but it can sometimes slow down and be played simply. I was attracted to the Cougars because of the new coach, the size of the school, and I've heard good things from past players. Aside from soccer, Brister enjoys hanging out with his friends and fishing in the great outdoors. He maintained honor roll status throughout his time at NACI and will be taking the college's business administration program in the fall. Brister is interested in the finance and economics side of business and hopes to pursue a career in that area. ACC offers more than 40 diploma and certificate programs across a variety of disciplines. The college consists of more than 3,600 full-time and 6,000 part-time students, with campuses in Brandon, Dauphin, and Winnipeg. And a new turf has been installed on a portion of the Nipahwa golf course. Local golfers are noticing some major improvements on hole number 4 at the Nipahwa Golf and Country Club, NGCC. Groundskeeping staff at the club, along with several volunteers, recently completed returfing a large section of land near the green. The superintendent, Mark Kirkowicz, said the sod arrived on Tuesday, May 18th at around noon, and they were able to have it all installed by 4:30. He said everyone couldn't be any happier with just how the work ended up. It's all turned out really well. The work had to be done due to the flood damage from last year. We oversowed a lot of areas last year and we're starting to see the results there. But for this portion of the course, it's a pretty high traffic area, and we would have struggled to have the seed to grow, so we went the sod route. It's fantastic to have that looked after. I couldn't be happier with the result. Seeing it go from dirt to sod is quite the feeling. Even the volunteers were pretty excited about it, never mind the crew. Kirkowicz gave a big thanks to the 12 to 15 volunteers who committed their time to assist with the installation. He stated those extra hands made sure everything was done as quickly as possible. Other work that was recently looked after at the golf course included building up along the tee box at hole number 3 and some patches along hole number 8. And on to the Carberry / North Cyprus Langford news. The community profile this week is on Jara Green by Gladwin Scott. Jara Green, a 2012 Carberry Collegiate graduate and Female Athlete of the Year, has a new position this summer as a forest fire fighter. She arrived May the 2nd in Thompson to do some training around Paint Lake. She said, although we may not parachute into danger areas, we do jump from helicopters to get close to the fires. There are 4 women among the 27 trainees, and you need to be in good physical condition. There are no fires here, but Sandy Lands and Whiteshell have plenty right now. We will be sent out to battle soon. Always an adventurous young woman, Miss Green spent time in South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand caring for wild animals and holidaying. She also worked as an educational assistant at CCRJWOW and Brookdale School, plus worked for a time at McCain's. This is something I've always wanted to do, stated a jovial Jara in a telephone interview from Thompson. She will return to her dual role as a fitness instructor for the ACC Police Studies program and a member of the Rivers Police Services on August 28th. Here and There by Gladwin Scott. Fire forced more than a dozen homes south of Carberry to evacuate Tuesday morning, May 18th. North Cyprus Langford Reeve Bob Adrianson said 18 homes and 34 people were evacuated because of heavy smoke and safety risk. Several dozen firefighters from Carberry, Wawanesa, Austin, Glenborough, CFB Shiloh, and others, plus a dozen trucks, met the local fire hall prior to leaving at 11 o'clock to battle the blaze that had burned 1,500 hectares of land. Highway number 5 was closed for a time south of Carberry. Raylene McIntosh Vulgaris was back in the area after Angela and Richard Mann's home was destroyed by fire. Some folks will remember Raylene as a Carberry Collegiate student, and she was the leader of a group known as Super Troopers. Their goal was to help military wives by cutting grass, shoveling snow, running errands, and babysitting while the ladies went shopping or had hair appointments, etc. The Super Troopers were very energetic and were nominated for the Premier's Volunteer of the Year celebrations at the Winnipeg Convention Centre. They were chosen as winners in their category, and several of the girls were sponsored to attend the banquet. It was a huge occasion, and they received a 2009 Rural Achievement Plaque, which librarian Jody Couples stated is still on display at the Collegiate. After graduation, Raylene achieved her Bachelor of Education, majoring in Special Education at the University of Manitoba, and is teaching at R.B. Russell School in Winnipeg. Although most Winnipeg students are currently learning online, Raylene is grades 9 and 10 special ed students in 4 subjects. She's married to Nathan Vulgaris, a culinary chef, and they live in Niverville with children Ava, age 5, and Scarlett, age 3. They also host Gavin Renwick, age 16, a Nipahwa Natives draftee who attended Tuxedo Shaftesbury High School and the Rink Academy from September to May 12th. Another Carberry hockey goalie, Carson Bjornson, also lived in Niverville and attended the same school. Carberry schools, K-12, continued remote learning until at least May 26 to prevent the spread of COVID-19. In mid-May, Red River, Morris, and Garden Valley Winkler school divisions decided to go to remote learning. This Winkler area is the same group that did not believe in SafeGrad until a couple of graduates lost their lives in auto accidents on grad night. Paving on Stickle Avenue and Jardine Street by Maple Leaf Construction on the west side of Carberry will occur this summer. Killarney Turtle Mountain RM is asking folks to limit lawn watering so they can still enjoy Lake Killarney this summer. And in Morden, watering gardens is rationed due to a shortage of water from Lake Minnewaska. Brad Gushu of St. John's, Newfoundland, and Carrie Einerson, Count Morton, Manitoba, represented Canada in the 20-country World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship in Aberdeen, Scotland, May 17th to 23rd. The teams were divided into 2 pools of 10, and following a 9-game round robin, the top 3 countries in each pool advanced to the playoffs. The Gushu Einerson team finishing the 10-team round robin with a 7-2 record, edged Switzerland 7-6 in the quarter-final playoffs. Scotland beat them 7-4 in the semifinals. Sweden beat them 7-4 in the bronze medal game, and Scotland captured the gold medals 9-7 over Norway. Although Canada did not finish in the medals, they did qualify Canada for the 2022 Beijing Olympics. Killarney schools, K-12, have moved to remote learning until May 31st. The American border has been closed to non-essential traffic until June 21st. There was a huge turnout at Cartwright regarding the 18,000 head High Life barn application in the RM of Cartwright-Roblin. The hearing lasted well past 11 p.m. with the majority of the speakers appearing to be opposed to the proposed barn. The RM of Norfolk, Treeherne, has given notice for a 3rd reading of a bylaw establishing a ward system for the purpose of electing municipal councillors. Okay. And I've already read that. Now, there's another section this week in the Nipahwa Banner and Press that is celebrating the Nipahwa Banner and Press 125 years, celebrating history. So I'll read a little bit of this by Ken Waddell. The Nipahwa Banner and Press and the Nipahwa area both have a lot of history to celebrate. This 125th anniversary edition is a 12-page section, and it is a truly special section. We feature a full reproduction of the very first Nipahwa press from May 28, 1896. And no, we cannot honor any of the prices advertised for 1896, including the $1 per year subscription fee. This special section is one of a series we plan to publish through the coming months. We have invited businesses to celebrate their history with our readers, and 3 businesses and the town of Nipahwa are involved in this section. We hope many more will want to join with us and tell their story in our regular editions of the Nipahwa Banner and Press throughout the year. The town of Nipahwa was incorporated in 1883 and is the oldest organization in the area. The Nipahwa Banner and Press is the oldest business, having started in 1896, as noted above. Gwen Brothers Memorials was started in 1908, and the Nipahwa Gladstone Co-op dates back to 1929. People, businesses, organizations, and buildings have been through the great development rush of the late 1890s and early 1900s, the First World War, the 1918 flu, the Roaring Twenties, the Dirty 30s, the Second World War, the Korean conflict, SARS, and now COVID-19. We are survivors, we are achievers, we are visionaries. And I think we all plan to be here as long as the good Lord allows us to live and thrive. Every business has a history, some longer than others, and it's important to tell our stories. Many of our old-timer residents are gone and can't tell their story to the thousands of people in our readership area that don't know your history. In succeeding weeks, as part of our regular weekly paper, we offer any businesses an opportunity to tell their story. Many businesses have been in business 10, 20, 40 or more years, and that's good news in itself. Maybe the building you are in has historic significance. We are fortunate to have so many historical buildings in the Nipahwa area, and that story needs to be told as well. We set up special 125th anniversary rates for this issue and for coming issues to make it easier to tell your story. Please call me at the Banner and Press office at 204-476-3401 or email me at kwaddell@nipawbanner.com. Serving the land of plenty for 125 years. And this section has, like he said, some areas that are from 1896. It's in very small print. I'm not going to read all of this, but for those of you that are interested should see what was going on that many years ago. That's quite amazing. Serving the land of plenty for 125 years. The Nipahwa Banner Press is the oldest continuing business in Nipahwa today. It was founded in May 1896 as the Nipahwa Press. The founder, J.A. Dunlop, ran the paper until 1930 and left the business to his son Blake, who published the press until September 1946. Another son, Wilfred Dunlop, also was associated with the paper during the 1940s. S. James Dempsey took over in 1946, and he was succeeded by W. H. Vopney on July 1st, 1948. Editors during the next 20 years included Vic O'Neill of Edmonton, William Portman of Portage la Prairie, A.F. or Dick Mackenzie of Nipahwa, Jennifer Sladek of Gladstone, George Smelly of Russell, and Bill Peters of Binsgarth. On November 1st, 1968, the press was purchased by Jack Huxley and John Osland, who had been co-managers of the business since 1955. The press was bought in the mid-1980s by Jack Gibson and Ewan Powell, who then sold it to Glacier corporation out of Vancouver. That meant that after 114 years of local ownership, the Nipahwa Press was managed by an out-of-province company. In 2015, the Nipahwa Press was purchased by the Nipahwa Banner and its publishers, Ken and Christine Waddell, which brought the oldest business in Nipahwa back into local ownership. While the Nipahwa Press is the oldest continuing business in Nipahwa today, it was not the first newspaper published here. The first newspaper, edited and managed by a Mr. Brongeest, was started in 1885 and was known as the Nipahwa Canadian. Mr. Brongeest later severed connections with the Canadian and started his own newspaper, the Nipahwa Star. Both papers were later amalgamated in the Nipahwa Register. The Nipahwa Press thrived and absorbed the Register in the late 1920s. There are apparently several other short-lived papers, one of which was the Nipahwa Herald and another the Nipahwa News. Although the Nipahwa Banner and Press is published in the same building on Mountain Avenue, constructed in 1932 by J.A. Dunlop, methods of printing have changed greatly since 1896, when metal type was gathered by hand, locked into steel forms, and the paper printed on hand and foot-powered presses. A monoline typesetting machine, the first in Manitoba, was installed in 1902 and continued to serve until a Model 19 linotype machine took its place in 1917. During the years, the press was owned by W.H. Vopney. Most of the equipment was replaced with new typesetting machines, and a new automatic flatbed rotary newspaper press was installed. In 1974, the new owners converted the printing process to the offset method, utilizing computer photo typesetters and a graphic camera to produce the newspaper. Actual printing of the paper was done at a central press owned by the Brandon Sun for many years, and then at the Dauphin Herald. The Banner printed at the Brandon Sun for a period of time, but now the Banner and Press is printed by Struth Publishing in Clarny. Today's paper is set up on a computer, and the files are sent to the printing plant over the internet. The Banner and Press publishes weekly with a Friday date, but is out on the streets on Thursday afternoon. The circulation is currently 9,500 copies each week across Nipahwa and surrounding region. And there's just some pictures of the past down and inside the original building. And there's an article here about the co-op. Over 90 years of service at Nipahwa Gladstone Co-op. The story of the Nipahwa Gladstone Co-op is one that begins with hardship and local effort. In 1929, sale prices for products were collapsing. Wheat was unable to be sold, and costs to purchase were increasing. To combat this, a group of Eden men at a pool elevator meeting in March discussed ideas of what could be done to allow them to keep farming. There, the idea of the Nipahwa Co-op was born. The idea was further discussed at the Nipahwa County Courthouse in a meeting attended by 50 people. The primary idea presented for the co-op was the handling of petroleum distribution and other farm necessities, the premise being that as a cooperative, the group would have better bargaining power with suppliers. By the end of July 1929, the first official board of directors for the Nipahwa Co-op was formed, and Harry S. Coulter was appointed as the branch's first general manager. To establish the business, a structure known then as the Dempsey Building, located across from the post office, was purchased for $400 and became the first Nipahwa Consumer Co-op Limited store. The business went through its hardships, but ultimately was able to persevere and expand its operations and services over the coming years. This brought a number of building changes, including the establishment of the large Nipahwa Co-op grocery store in 1974. That store then became the home of the Nipahwa branch of the Salvation Army after the current Co-op grocery store located on the highway beside the gas station was established in March 2014. As well, a new administration office in September 2013 and an agro center in July 2019. A similar story unfolded in Gladstone, a meeting of 16 farmers taking place in that pool elevator on February 28, 1946. The decision to form a cooperative was unanimous, and the Gladstone store would officially be recorded as in operation on April 26 that year. In 1947, Sven Sorensen was appointed manager on February 27, 1947, and the group decided the following year to purchase the former P. Williams garage. On February 6, 1957, the Gladstone Co-op purchased a building at the wartime airport at Carberry for $900 to use as a store. Later, on November the 2nd, in 1960, additional land south of the Co-op elevator was purchased for a new bulk plant. The plant was then moved to that site in 1962, and storage sheds for bagged fertilizer built along the CPR tracks that fall. Come the 60s, there was a shift for both stores, amalgamation being a hot topic. The benefits of amalgamation were being considered by both parties, including the ability to cut delivery costs and improve the efficiency of their bulk purchases. The two parties met on March 17, 1969 at the Gladstone Co-op's annual general meeting, and their memberships voted in favor of the merger. Thus, the Gladstone facility became a part of the Nipahwa Co-op, creating Nipahwa Gladstone Cooperative Limited. Further difficulties were faced by the business as a whole, such as the loss of the Gladstone Co-op Agro Center via fire on October 10, 1990. However, that building was soon replaced by a larger facility, and both branches continued their development. In 1996, the Nipahwa hardware, lumber, and agro departments moved to new facilities on Highway 5 North, and the downtown shopping center went through major changes in 1997. A new chemical fertilizer depot just west of Gladstone allowed for greater efficiency serving the surrounding area, and later 2 new gas bar convenience stores were opened. Gladstone's was in 2001 and Nipahwa 2004. Then, in the fall of 2006, a 4-bay car and pet wash was then added onto the Nipahwa facility. Both outlets were noted in historical documents as successful. A new automatic car wash was built in May 2018, and chalet flooring and window covers was purchased in July 2019. The co-op works in partnership with the Tempos in McCreary and Silver Ridge, the bar and convenience store in Kellwood, and has a fuel key lock in Langruth. For the first 70 years, the co-op grew to having sales of $20 million. Over the next 20 years, through many business acquisitions and partnerships, the co-op has grown to almost $90 million in sales. Nowadays, the Nipahwa Gladstone Co-op still provides services that are a staple to Nipahwa, Gladstone, and the surrounding areas. Now, I was just going to go back, if I had time, which I do, to another section. And I was going to read Rita Friesen's article called The Cemetery. It is difficult to say the last time I so struggled to formulate my thoughts and emotions. I am surprised that one of Ken's staff has not contacted me, reminding me of a deadline. Those of you who know me know that I do not gladly embrace change. I am a planter of trees and a tree hugger. When I walk through what was my familiar cemetery just up the road from my home, my heart aches. I miss the majestic old evergreens, twisted and bent as they were. I miss the carefully sculpted trees that lined the roadways. Saying that, I also want to make it clear that I appreciate the notices that changes were and are coming. I appreciate that none of the work was ever done under the cover of darkness. I appreciate the history of our community, the foresight of the founders to trek to the mountains and bring back trees to be planted as decoration, as delineation and protection for generations yet unborn. They planned and executed their work well. Times change. Yes, they do. I am trying to believe that the new format of the cemetery will be aesthetically pleasing, comforting, and peace-filled for all who come in a purpose or to simply wander. Truthfully, I think of the ancient cemeteries I have been privileged to explore. The lines were not straight. In some areas, the grass was not mowed, the headstones tilting, and crypts in ruins. The atmosphere was still and awesome, the intent of the final resting place of those long forgotten still intact. I know we, as a country, we are not old, barely more than 150 years old in comparison to the European and Asian countries, mere children. Also saying that, I don't believe that we wish to see our cemetery neglected and decrepit. Part of my high school responsibilities was to memorize poetry, a task I embraced and has for decades enriched my life. The lines of a poem called Erosion by E.J. Pratt echo as I linger in the cemetery, and it goes like this. It took the sea 1,000 years to trace the granite features of this cliff in crag and scarp and base. It took the sea an hour one night, an hour of storm to place the sculpture of these granite seams upon a woman's face. It took the tree 100 years to grow. It took the powers a single week to destroy. My heart is heavy. The hurt goes deeper than the loss of these trees. It is for the miles of shelter belts that have been removed to allow for larger farming equipment. We are 3 generations from the drought of the 30s, the reason many of the trees were planted. It is for the old growth forest being harvested on the west coast. It is for the ravaging of our earth. I shall wait and watch and trust. The trusting comes hard, I admit. And I shall go to the ditches and dig an evergreen and plant it. A single act, not a rebellious act, but an act filled with hope. And on that note, I think that will be the end of this week's reading of the Nipahwa Banner and Press. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.